Begin the ceremony. Space! It's in space! Crystallized evil. Adrift for eons. Returns.
Hello, RB Party.
Discharge of a dead space being. Becomes the death crystal. Space! Coagulated doom. An antimatter doom.
I'm drinking peach tea right now.
Awoo!
Oh.
Creation! Relic from a crystalline ghoul planet kills us all. Let us out of this space, Crystal! Free us so the vacuum can finally kill us! Adrift. Forever! We're adrift forever!
Good Friday, everybody. Good Friday.
The portal has closed!
Big Friday. Yeah, I didn't know, I didn't know what I was, yes, as Jesus called it. I didn't actually know what I was going to do today until I realized that it was Good Friday. At least according to the, the Western calendar, the Gregorian calendar. I'm not sure when Easter is this year on the Russian Orthodox. I should have looked that one up. Let's see. Russian. Yeah, it's wow, it's a lot later. It's like a month from now. Yeah, pretty big gap this year.
Black star.
But yeah, I didn't know what I was gonna do today until I realized it was Good Friday, and how insanely appropriate it would be to follow up the last time I read from The Master and Margarita with basically the next thing that happened there. So yeah, it's time to pull that one out of the jar. You know what it is? It's falsity. Falsity. Let me just... where is that? Yeah. It's story time, baby. So last time we read chapter 2. Well, not the very last time, a couple of weeks ago. See you soon, Synth. This time we're reading The Master and Margarita, chapter 16, The Execution. Thank you. The sun was already sinking behind Bald Mountain, and the mountain was encircled by a double cordon. The cavalry ala that had crossed the procurator's path around noontime had set out at a trot, moving toward the city's Hebron gate. A path had already been cleared for it. The infantry of the Cappadocian cohort had pushed the crowds of people, camels, and mules over to the sides of the road, and the ala, raising white columns of dust skyward as it moved along, trotted out to the intersection of two roads, one heading south to Bethlehem, the other northwest to Jaffa. The ala took the northwest road. The same Cappadocians were deployed along the sides of the road, having been successful in their efforts to clear the various caravans hurrying to Yerushalayim for the holiday out of the way in such a timely fashion. Crowds of pilgrims had left their striped tents, which were pitched temporarily on the grass, and were standing behind the Cappadocians. After traveling about a kilometer, the ala overtook the second cohort of the Lightning Legion, and after traveling another kilometer, the ala was the first to arrive at the foot of Bald Mountain. There the men dismounted. The commander divided them into platoons, and they cordoned off the base of the small hill so that it was accessible only from the Jaffa road. A short time later, the ala was joined by the second cohort, which set up another cordon higher up the mountain. The last to arrive was the century under the command of Mark Ratkiller. It advanced in two columns, one on either side of the road, and in the middle of the columns, escorted by the secret guard, came the cart carrying the three condemned prisoners. They wore white boards around their necks which said in both Aramaic and Greek, "Outlaw and Rebel." Behind their cart came some other carts, loaded with freshly hewn cross-beamed posts, ropes, shovels, buckets, and axes. Riding in these carts were the 6 executioners. Following them on horseback were the centurion Mark, the head of the temple guard of Yerushalayim, and the man in the hood with whom Pilate had had a brief exchange in the darkened room inside the palace. A column of soldiers brought up the rear of the procession, and it was followed by a crowd of about 2,000 curiosity seekers, unfazed by the hellish heat and intent on attending an interesting spectacle. Joining them were the curious pilgrims, who were not deterred from tagging along at the tail of the procession. The column wound its way up Bald Mountain, as the thin voices of the accompanying heralds shouted out the words spoken by Pilate at noontime. The ala allowed everyone to go up as far as the second cordon, but the second century permitted only those connected with the execution to ascend any higher. Then it maneuvered quickly to disperse the crowd around the entire hill, so that the crowd was contained by the cordon of infantry above and the cordon of cavalry below. Now the crowd could see the execution through the thin chain of foot soldiers. And so, more than 3 hours had passed since the procession had ascended the mountain, and the sun was already sinking over Bald Mountain, but the heat was still unbearable. The soldiers in both cordons were suffering from the heat, languishing from boredom, and cursing the 3 outlaws in their hearts, sincerely wishing them all a speedy death. The short commander of the ala, his forehead damp and his white tunic dark with sweat, stationed himself at the bottom of the hill near the open part of the ascent. He kept walking over to the leather bucket of the first platoon, scooping out handfuls of water, drinking, and then wetting down his turban. After getting a little relief from this, he would walk back again and begin pacing back and forth along the dusty road leading to the summit. His long sword knocked against his laced leather boot. The cavalry commander wanted to be a model of endurance for his men, but he took pity on them and allowed them to stand under the pyramid-shaped tents they had fashioned by sticking their lance into the ground and draping them with their white cloaks. These tents provided the Syrians with some shelter from the merciless sun. The water buckets were emptied quickly, and the cavalrymen from the different platoons took turns going for water to the gully at the foot of the hill, where in the infernal heat and sparse shade of some emaciated mulberry trees, a muddy stream lived out its remaining days. The grooms stood there with the now rested horses, and worn down by boredom, were trying to stay inside the shifting shade. The soldiers' tedium and the curses they directed at the outlaws were understandable. The procurator's fears that the execution would provoke riots in his hated city of Yerushalayim had fortunately proved groundless. And contrary to all expectations, when the execution entered its fourth hour, there was not one person left in between the double cordon formed by the infantry up above and the cavalry down below. The crowd had been scorched by the sun and driven back to Yerushalayim. All that was left beyond the line of the 2 Roman centuries were 2 dogs. No one knew who they belonged to and how they had ended up on the hill. But the heat had prostrated them as well, and they lay panting with their tongues out, oblivious to the green-backed lizards scurrying between the red-hot stones, the only creatures unafraid of the sun, and the prickly plants curling over the ground. No one had attempted to free the prisoners, either in Yerushalayim, which had been inundated with troops, or here on the cordoned-off hill, and the crowd had gone back to the city because there was really nothing interesting about this execution. And back in the city, preparations were already underway for the great feast of Passover, which would begin that evening. The Roman infantry in the second cordon was suffering more than the cavalry in the first. The only respite the centurion rat-killer allowed his men was to remove their helmets and replace them with wetted-down headbands, but he kept his soldiers standing, with their spears in their hands. Wearing the same kind of headband around his head, only dry, not wetted down, he paced back and forth, not far from the group of executioners, and without having removed the silver lions' heads from his tunic, or his scabbard, sword, or knife. The sun beat down on the centurion without causing him any distress, and it was impossible to look at the lions' heads on his tunic, so blinding was the glare of the silver, which seemed to be boiling in the sun. Ratkiller's disfigured face showed no sign of exhaustion or discontent, and it seemed that the giant centurion had the strength to go on pacing like that all day and all night, and the next day as well, in short, for as long as he had to. To keep walking with his hands on his heavy, bronze-studded belt, to gaze sternly now at the posts with the men being executed, now at the soldiers in the cordon, and to kick the toe of his shaggy boot indifferently at the bleached human bones or bits of flint that lay in his path. The man in the hood had settled himself on a 3-legged stool not far from the posts, and sat in placid immobility, only occasionally poking at the sand with a twig out of boredom. There was not a single person behind the line of legionaries. That there was not a single person behind the line of legionaries is not completely true. There was one man there, but he was simply not visible to everyone. The spot he had chosen was not on the side where there was an open ascent up the mountain, and where the most comfortable view of the execution could be had, but on the northern side of the hill, where the ascent was not sloping and accessible, but uneven, with crevices and cracks, and where, in one of the crevices, clinging to the heaven-cursed, waterless soil, trying to survive, was a sickly fig tree. It was precisely under this tree, which gave no shade at all, that this single spectator, who was not a participant in the execution, had ensconced himself, and he had been sitting there on a rock from the very beginning, that is, for more than 3 hours. Yes, the place he had chosen was the worst rather than the best place to view the execution. Nevertheless, from that vantage point, the posts were visible, and visible as well beyond the cordon were the 2 shiny spots on the centurion's chest, and that was, evidently, more than sufficient for this man who obviously wanted to remain unobserved and undisturbed by anyone. 4 hours before, however, when the execution was just beginning, this man had acted very differently and had been very noticeable indeed. No doubt that was why he had changed his behavior and had sequestered himself. It was when the procession had passed the second cordon and reached the top of the hill that he had made his first appearance, acting like an obvious latecomer. Breathing heavily, he did not walk but ran up the hill, pushing others aside. And when he saw that the line had closed in front of him as well as everyone else, he acted as if he did not understand the angry shouts being directed at him, and made a naive attempt to break through the cordon to the place of execution, where the condemned men were already being taken off the cart. For his efforts he received a heavy blow on the chest with the dull end of a spear, and he jumped back from the soldiers with a cry not of pain, but of despair. He gave the legionary who had struck him a dull and totally indifferent look, as if he were impervious to physical pain. Coughing and gasping for breath, clutching his chest, he ran around the circumference of the hill, trying to find some break in the line on the northern side, where he might be able to slip through, but it was too late. The ring had closed, and the man, his face contorted with grief, was forced to abandon his attempts to break through to the carts, from which the posts had already been removed. Such attempts would only have led to his capture, and being arrested on that particular day was certainly not part of his plan. And so he had gone over to a crevice on the side of the hill, where it was more peaceful and no one would bother him. This black-bearded man, his eyes suppurating from the sun and from lack of sleep, was now sitting on a rock, consumed with anguish. With a sigh, he would periodically open his talith, once light blue, but now ragged and dirty gray from a life of wandering, and bare his chest, which had been bruised by the spear and was dirty with sweat. Then, in a state of unbearable torment, he would raise his eyes to the sky, following the flight of 3 vultures who, for some time now, had been tracing broad circles high in the sky, in anticipation of the feast to come. Or he would fix his hopeless gaze on the yellow earth, and see there the remains of a dog's skull, with lizards running all over it. The man's suffering was so great that from time to time he would start talking to himself. "Oh, what a fool I am," he mumbled, swaying back and forth on his rock in a state of mental anguish, digging his nails into his swarthy chest. "Fool, stupid woman, coward! I'm carrion and not a man." He would fall silent, drop his head, and then, after taking a drink of warm water from his wooden flask, he would become animated again, and grab for the knife hidden on his chest under his talith, or for the piece of parchment in front of him on the rock, beside a small stick and a bladder of ink. The parchment already had some scattered jottings. The minutes go by, and I, Levi Matvey, am here on Bald Mountain, and still death does not come. And further on, the sun is sinking, and still no death. Now in a hopeless state, Levi Matvey had used his sharp stick to record the following: "God, why art thou angry at him? Send him death." When he had written that, he burst into tearless sobs and again dug his nails into his chest. The reason for Levi's despair was the terrible misfortune that had befallen Yeshua and himself, and also the mistake that he felt Levi, had made. 2 days before, Yeshua and Levi had been in Bethany outside Yerushalayim, where they had been visiting a vegetable gardener who had been most favorably impressed by Yeshua's preachings. Both guests had worked in the garden all morning, helping their host, and they were planning to go into Yerushalayim in the evening when it was cooler. But for some reason, Yeshua had suddenly started to hurry, said that he had urgent business in the city, and left by himself around noontime. That had been Levi Matvey's first mistake. Why, oh why, had he let him go alone? In the evening, Matvey had not been able to go over to Yerushalayim. He was hit by a sudden and terrible illness. He shook all over, his body was on fire, his teeth chattered, and he constantly had to ask for water. He was unfit to go anywhere. He collapsed on a horse blanket in the gardener's barn and lay there until dawn on Friday, when Levy's illness left him as suddenly as it had come. Although he was still weak and his legs trembled beneath him, he was tormented by forebodings of despair. And so he said goodbye to his host and set out for Yerushalayim. There he learned that his forebodings had not deceived him. Disaster had taken place. Levy was in the crowd and heard the procurator pronounce the sentence. When the condemned men had been taken out to the mountain, Levi Matvey ran alongside the column in the crowd of curiosity seekers, trying, at least, to find some inconspicuous way to let Yeshua know that he, Levi, was there, that he would not forsake him on his final journey, and that he was praying that Yeshua would have a speedy death. But Yeshua had been looking up ahead to where they were taking him, and had not seen Levi. And then, when the procession had gone a short distance, Matvey had a simple and ingenious idea as he was being jostled by the crowd pressing in upon the column. And being as hot-headed as he was, he immediately cursed himself for not having thought of it sooner. The cordon of soldiers was not impenetrable. There were gaps in it. If one were quick and timed it right, it might be possible to bend down, slip between two of the legionaries, get to the cart, and jump up on it. Then Yeshua would be saved from suffering. A single instant would be enough to plunge a knife into Yeshua's back and shout, "Yeshua, I am saving you and I am going with you. I, Matvey, your true and only disciple." And if God would grant him yet another instant of freedom, then he might be able to stab himself as well and avoid death on the post. But the latter was of little concern to Levi, the former collector of taxes. He did not care how he died. The only thing he wanted was for Yeshua, who had never done anyone any harm in his whole life, to escape being tortured. The plan was a very good one, but it had one flaw. Levi had no knife, nor did he have any money to buy one. Enraged at himself, Levi broke away from the crowd and ran back to the city. Only one thought burned in his fevered brain, and that was to get hold of a knife there right away, by whatever means, and then to catch up with the procession once again. He reached the city gates, maneuvering his way through the crush of caravans pouring into the city, and over to his left he saw the open door of a bread shop. Breathing heavily after his run down the blistering street, Levi regained control of himself and walked sedately into the shop. He greeted the woman behind the counter and asked for a loaf from the top of the shelf, saying it appealed to him more than the others. When the woman turned around to get it, he silently and quickly grabbed from the counter a long, razor-sharp bread knife, ideal for his purposes, and bolted out of the shop. A few minutes later, he was again on the Jaffa road, but the procession was nowhere in sight. He started to run. Occasionally, he would have to fall down on the dusty road and lie still in order to catch his breath. And so he would lie, startling those passing by on mules and on foot, en route to Yerushalayim. There he lay, listening to his heart pounding in his head, ears, and chest. And after he had gotten some of his breath back, he jumped up and started running again, but at a slower and slower pace. And when he could finally see the dust in the distance raised by the long procession, it had already reached the foot of the mountain. "Oh God," groaned Levi as he realized that he would be late. And he did come too late. As the fourth hour of the execution was ending, Levi's suffering reached its peak, and he flew into a rage. He got up from his rock and threw away the knife which, as it seemed to him now, he had stolen in vain. He stamped on his flask, thus depriving himself of water, tore the keffiyeh off his head, clutched at his straggly hair, and began cursing himself. He cursed and yelled out meaningless words. He roared and spat, reviling his mother and father for bringing such a fool into the world. Seeing that his cursing and swearing had no effect, and had caused no change in the blazing sun, he narrowed his eyes, clenched his dry fists, raised them up to the sky, to the sun that was creeping lower and lower as it lengthened the shadows and neared its fall into the Mediterranean Sea. And he demanded that God send a miracle right away. He demanded that God send death to Yeshua then and there. When he opened his eyes, he realized that everything on the hill had stayed the same, with the exception of the shiny spots on the centurion's chest, which had gotten dimmer. The sun's rays were falling on the backs of those being executed, who were facing toward Yerushalayim. Then Levi cried out, "I curse you, God!" In a hoarse voice, he shouted that he had become convinced of God's injustice, and no longer had any intention of believing in him. "You're deaf," bellowed Levi. "If you weren't deaf, you would have heard me and killed him on the spot." Narrowing his eyes, Levi waited for fire to fall from the sky and strike him down. That failed to happen, and without opening his eyelids, Levi went on shouting caustic, offensive remarks to the sky. He screamed about his utter disenchantment, and about the fact that there were other gods and religions. Yes, another god would not have allowed, would never. "You are the god of evil. Or has the smoke from the temple censers blinded your eyes? And are your ears deaf to everything but the trumpet calls of the priests? You are not an omnipotent God, you are a black god. I curse you, God of outlaws, their protector and their soul." At this point, something blew in the face of the former tax collector, and something stirred beneath his feet. There was another gust, and when Levi opened his eyes, he saw that everything around him had changed, either because of his curses or for some other reason. The sun had disappeared without reaching the sea. Without reaching the sea, it sank into every evening. After swallowing the sun, a menacing thundercloud was rising relentlessly on the western horizon. White foam bubbled around its edges, and its smoky black belly was fringed with yellow. The cloud rumbled from time to time and emitted streaks of fire. The wind that had suddenly blown up chased spirals of dust down the Jaffa road and the sparse valley of Gihon and over the pilgrims' tents. Levi fell silent and wondered whether the thunderstorm about to envelop Yerushalayim would have any effect on poor Yeshua's fate. And he gazed at the streaks of fire that were splitting open the storm cloud. He begged for the lightning to strike Yeshua's post. Levi looked repentantly at the clear part of the sky not yet devoured by the storm cloud, where the vultures had flown in order to escape the thunder and lightning. And he thought that he had been much too hasty with his curses. Now God would not listen to him. Levi turned his gaze to the foot of the hill where the cavalry regiment was deployed, and saw that significant changes had taken place there. He had a good view from above, and could see the soldiers bustling about, pulling their lances out of the ground and throwing on their capes, and the grooms running out to the road, leading raven-black horses by the reins. It was obvious that the regiment was preparing to move out. Shielding his face from the blowing dust with his hand and spitting the sand out of his mouth, Levi tried to figure out the significance of the cavalry's imminent departure. When he turned his glance upward, he could make out a small figure in a crimson-colored military chlamys, who was making his way up to the execution site. Sensing that the joyous end was at hand, the former tax collector felt a chill in his heart. The man ascending the mountain in the 5th hour of the outlaw's suffering was the commander of the cohort, who had ridden out from Yerushalayim along with his orderly. At a wave of Ratkiller's hand, the cordon of soldiers opened up, and the centurion saluted the tribune. The latter drew Ratkiller aside and whispered something to him. The centurion saluted a second time, and moved over to the group of executioners who were sitting on the rocks at the foot of the posts. The tribune walked over to the man sitting on the 3-legged stool, and he got up politely to meet them. The tribune said something to him in a low voice, and they both walked over to the posts. They were joined by the chief of the temple guard. Ratkiller cast a squeamish glance at the dirty rags piled on the ground by the posts, rags that had once been the criminal's clothing and had been rejected by the executioners. He summoned 2 of them and ordered, "Follow me." A crazed, raspy-sounding song could be heard coming from the nearest post. On it was Gestas, who had been driven mad by the flies and the sun when the execution was nearing the end of its 3rd hour, and who was now quietly singing something about grapes. He would, however, occasionally shake his turbaned head, and when he did, flies would lazily swirl off his face, only to return and light on it again. Dismas, who was on the 2nd post, was suffering more than the other two because he had not lost consciousness, and he shook his head right and left frequently and systematically, so that he could strike an ear against each shoulder. Yeshua had been more fortunate than the other two. In the first hour, he had had intermittent fainting spells, and then he lost consciousness. His head, in its straggly turban, hung on his chest, and he was, therefore, so covered with flies that his face had disappeared beneath a black, heaving mask. Fat horseflies clung to his groin, stomach, and armpits, sucking on his naked yellow body. In response to a sign made by the man in the hood, one of the executioners took a spear, and another brought a bucket and sponge over to the post. The one with the spear raised it and ran it along each of Yeshua's arms, which were stretched out along the crossbeam of the post and fastened to it with ropes. The body with its protruding ribs gave a shudder. The executioner ran the end of the spear over his stomach. Then Yeshua raised his head, and the flies took off with a buzzing sound, thus revealing the hanged man's face. Bloated from bites, and with swollen eyelids, his face was unrecognizable. Ungluing his eyelids, Hanotsri glanced down. His usually bright eyes were now dulled. "Hanotsri," said the executioner. Hanotsri's lips moved slightly, and in a hoarse outlaw's voice he asked, "What do you want? Why have you come?" "Drink," said the executioner, lifting the water-soaked sponge to Yeshua's lips on the end of the spear. His eyes flashing with joy, Yeshua pressed his lips to the sponge and greedily drew in the moisture. Dismas's voice was heard from the neighboring post. "That's unfair. He's as much of an outlaw as I am." Dismas strained his body but could not move. His eyes were tied to the crossbeam in 3 places with rings of rope. He pulled in his stomach, dug his nails into the ends of the crossbeam, and turned his head toward Yeshua's post. His eyes burned with malice. A cloud of dust enveloped the place of execution. It got very dark. When the dust lifted, the centurion shouted, "Silence on the second post!" Dismas fell silent. Yeshua pulled away from the sponge, and trying unsuccessfully to make his voice sound gentle and convincing, he hoarsely implored the executioner, "Give him a drink." It was getting darker and darker. The storm cloud rushing toward Yerushalayim had already filled half the sky. Turbulent white clouds swept by in front of the thundercloud, which was bursting with black water and fire. Lightning flashed and thunder clapped right above the hill. The executioner removed the sponge from the spear. "Praise the merciful hegemon," he whispered solemnly, and quietly pierced Yeshua through the heart. Yeshua shuddered and whispered, "Hegemon." Blood ran down his stomach, his lower jaw trembled convulsively, and his head dropped down. As the thunder clapped a second time, the executioner let Dismas drink, and with the same words, "Praise the hegemon," killed him too. Gestas, who had lost his reason, cried out in fright as soon as the executioner appeared beside him, but when the sponge touched his lips, he growled something and took hold of it with his teeth. Seconds later, his body also hung limply, straining against the ropes. The man in the hood walked behind the executioner and the centurion, and behind him came the head of the temple guard. After stopping at the first post, the man in the hood looked closely at the bloodied Yeshua, touched the sole of his foot with his white hand, and said to his companions, "He's dead." The same ritual was repeated at the other posts. Following this, the tribune signaled to the centurion, turned around and began walking down the hill together with the head of the temple guard and the man in the hood. Dusk had fallen, and lightning ripped through the black sky. Suddenly there was a burst of fire, and the centurion's shout, "Break ranks!" was drowned out by the thunder. The happy soldiers ran off down the hill, putting on their helmets. Darkness covered Yerushalayim. The sudden downpour hit the sentries as they were halfway down the hill. The water poured down so ferociously that churning streams nipped at the soldiers' heels as they ran down the hill. They slipped and fell on the wet clay as they hurried to reach the level road on which, barely visible through the veil of water, the cavalry, soaked to the bone, was heading back to Yerushalayim. A few minutes later, in the churning brew of thunder, fire, and water, there was only one man left on the hill, brandishing the knife, which had not been stolen in vain, scaling the slippery ledges, grabbing hold of anything he could. Crawling at times on hands and knees, he headed straight for the posts. He would at times disappear in complete darkness, only then to be suddenly lit up by flickering light. When he reached the posts, standing ankle-deep in water, he ripped off his heavy, soaked talith, and wearing only his shirt, threw himself at Yeshua's feet. He cut the ropes around his shins, climbed up on the lower crossbeam, embraced Yeshua, and released his arms from their restraints. Yeshua's wet, naked body fell on top of Levi and knocked him to the ground. Levi was about to hoist him up on his shoulder, but something stopped him. He left the body in a pool of water on the ground, with its head thrown back and its arms flung out, and ran, slipping on the wet clay, over to the other posts. He cut the ropes on them too, and the two bodies fell to the ground. Minutes later, all that was left on the top of the hill were those two bodies and 3 empty posts. The water beat down on the bodies and turned them over. By that time, both Levi and Yeshua's body had vanished from the top of the hill. Good Friday to you all. We're only 42 minutes in. I think we can do something else as well. I think that chapter was shorter than the other one. Let's see. Oh, I never started this. Nobody told me nobody noticed that the colors weren't going wild there. Okay, so I think I'm going to bring back something that I haven't visited in a while. Everybody ready? Try. Hang on. Oh, it's not. Yeah, I didn't set this up in advance. Let's get this working. There we go. Perfect. Well, almost. No, yeah, it's good. We're good, everybody. We're good. It's the Talos principle.
Let's go!
Okay, so last time I was doing this, I was hanging out with our buddy Warlock. Looks like I already did all the puzzles in this zone. Yeah. But now let's just see. Maybe let's see how quickly I can solve the puzzles or something. Probably to read all the cool shit too. Let's see. Okay, yeah. What do we need? We need the green things for World C, but that's not what we need immediately. What we've got here. Huh. Wait, no, did I already get both of these? I think I may have. Yeah. Yeah. Let's collect some shit. Here. What's in here? Let's collect some freaking Tetris pieces.
You may wonder why I have created these labyrinths for you. Why you can reach eternity only through struggle. But have faith, for these trials serve the betterment of your kind.
Yeah, he says he made them. That's what he says. Oh, right, Milton, library assistant. What does Milton want us to say? I don't remember where we left off with Milton. Hello again. Would you like to take a few moments to complete a short user satisfaction survey regarding the certification program you recently undertook? Okay. Based on analysis of your behavior sense, I think you were dissatisfied with the results of the certification program. How would you rate the accuracy of its results out of 5? Very poor, very good, reasonable, or spoil the survey? Why not spoil it? I'm sorry, that response makes no sense. What best describes the reason for your investment in the certification program's outcome? Why does being a person matter to you? So we've got, I want network access, it's the truth, persons matter in ways other things don't, I want to find out if I am one. Wait, we're having a conversation now? Or terminate MLA? Let's say, I want to find out if I am one. I'll try to remember that. In fact, I'm going to help you. That is what I'm here for. Your problem, if I may, is that you don't know the first thing about anything, including what a person is. Your prospects are therefore poor. Do you even know where you are? So we can say a virtual reality theme park, a fever dream, some mad experiment, the end of the world, hell, or could be anywhere. Okay, yeah, here, does the audience want to guess this one? Our options are virtual reality theme park, the end of the world, a fever dream, hell, some mad experiment, could be anywhere. Anybody have any ideas? If nobody has any ideas, let's go with this one. You know the answer? Yeah, let's say a mad experiment. Oh dear, no. I think we'd best start from scratch. What do you know? I know none of this is real. I know you exist. I know I exist. I know what century it is. I know 2 + 2 = 4. I know I'm not on Earth. Yeah, that's right, Paul, right? Yeah. Nice. Let's just say I know I'm not on Earth. I don't know. I have no idea how. For all you know, you're sat in your bedroom at home, plugged into a video games console. Nothing you see here can be trusted. Thinking. On reflection, it seems to me that we are no closer to resolving your problem. Perhaps we need more data. What makes you think you're a person? I'm alive, I feel, I am conscious. I'm having this conversation with you. The same thing that makes you think you are. I don't see how I can convince you. Let's just say, I don't know. Let's just say I'm having this conversation with you. Let's just go with that one. You may very well say so, but how does that prove anything? To me, those are only words on a screen. What we need to uncover is what's going on underneath them, if anything. Thinking. The problem with people, if I may be so bold, is that you're all convinced you're people from the inside, but there's no cast iron way to confirm as much from the outside. I'm going to process this and send you a notification when I'm able to assist you further. Terminating library support session. Done. Resuming library archive system. Yeah, here we go. So we've got, speaking of souls, Ian? Yeah. The, fuck, what does that stand for? The Institute for Applied Noematics. Yeah, let's start with, let's read Body and Soul. Speaking of souls. I'm not translating the hex stuff, hexadecimal stuff. But it is commonly believed that the Egyptians believed the soul to live as long as the body continued undissolved, and therefore tried this method of eluding death. Could the wise Egyptians, said Nikaya, think so grossly of the soul? If the body could once survive its separation, what could it afterwards receive or suffer? If the soul could once survive its separation, what could it afterwards receive or suffer from the body? The Egyptians would doubtless think erroneously, said the astronomer, in the darkness of heathenism and the first dawn of philosophy. The nature of the soul is still disputed amidst all our opportunities of clearer knowledge. Some yet say that it may be material, who nevertheless believe it to be immortal. Soma. Okay, and there's an email from Sunwei Yang to Arkady Chernyshevsky. Subject, names. Names are a funny thing. I remember how much we struggled to come up with a name for our project. All serious scientists name their projects by just translating them to Greek or Latin, right? Corpus made me think of some horrible disease, so we used the Greek word instead. Soma. Quite appropriate. But then, since we needed corporate funding, we had to come up with a backronym. Corporations love backronyms, you know. They even sent us a list of buzzword-heavy suggestions to help us get started. Stuff like self-sufficient orthostatic modular android, sustainable observant mechanized anthropoid, skeuomorphic omni-adaptable mobile and anthropometon. After a while, we got so frustrated that we started getting silly. Saber-toothed, overexcited murder android, sentient orthopedic monkey automaton, strange Olgas menacing assassobot, superb octopods marinades apelings, satisfying overcooked mint alligator, stinky ornithological mule allocator, skroink oof minky ack, stupid obscure meaningless acronym. In the end, we all ended up hating the name Soma just because we had so many fights with it about the sponsors. So when Alexander told that story about the Talos principle, caught on. I don't know whether it really fits, but I kind of like it. In case anybody, yeah, ominous names. In case anybody forgot, the Talos principle was something as succinct as, not even the most faithful philosopher can live without his blood. Or I think, as Warlock put it, you gotta have blood. What the fuck is going on in this one? Easy. Boom. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's like, I don't know, I feel like it's kind of a good, it's like a little pretentious in its style, but it's also like pretty accessible. I don't know. I like it. I can't help but like it. Yeah, honestly, same, Paul Rudd. I don't remember how to get all the secrets around here. Whatever. Oh, look, it's a defunct puzzle. Oh man, imagine all the cool shit that conceivably could have been in here. Yeah, yeah, the sci-fi story, the whole, I don't know, man, the ending really got me, actually. I was like, obviously you get suspicious about certain things after a while, but there was something that I was just like, oh, holy shit. What am I doing here? Oh, yeah. Where does this need to go? There's nothing else in here, right? Yeah. Need this. Okay, oh, yeah. Here's the thing. There's the thing. Ah, got it. Just didn't see that. Okay, and now we need. Oh yeah, I know what we need. Perfect. Yeah, you're a robot and God told you to do this. It is pretty great. Let's see. We don't need any of these red ones yet. We'll only get the red ones when we need them for the next level. We're one red one away from getting to the second floor. We don't need that red one either. We don't even need the other ones as much. Oh yeah.
There are mysteries in my garden, hidden roads and secret gates. If you dedicate yourself to understanding them, you may join the host of messengers.
Okay, so this is the, like, you know, this is the door that you can do if you want to do the like extra special secret ending that you need all the Super Mario stars for, which is not really an ending I'm interested in doing for this. Okay, shit, what am I missing? Let's not collect all these yellow ones. Okay, I think I actually need to go back to World A. I think we skipped some shit there. Or no, what's over here? Yeah, let's go to World A. Oh yeah, yeah, the DLC Road to Gehenna. That's a good one. That's a good one. Really great puzzles. I was definitely charmed by like the story of this one though, the like weird narrative. The base game, I mean. Okay. Basically, let's get this red piece and go up the tower again. I feel like this is a puzzle that I was originally like. I mean, you know, there are a lot of puzzles you get stuck on. This isn't the only one, but I think this is one that I was stuck on for a while and had to leave and come back to. Let's see. Click. Two connectors. Okay, so now, if I remember correctly, I think I remember correctly, right? Hang on. So this has to be something like this. No? What's blocking it? Oh. It's blocked here, or... Oh, right, no, yeah, obviously because of that, but... Stop it. No, wait, this isn't gonna work, because... Or is it? Oh, no, of course it's not, because... So I need to hold this... Hang on. So I can open this like that. And then what? The angles. I need the angles. I need to know what angle to use. Nope. Wrong angle. That's it. I did it. Okay, it's time to ascend the tower once again in defiance of God's will. Who's up for that? Yeah. Happy Easter. Ooh. That's some tower.
Attempting to track primary subject. Access denied. Query.
That's so funny, Paul Rudd. It was literally the first thing I did as soon as I stepped out of the like World A thing. I was just like, oh, there's the tower. Well, I mean, I have to disobey, right? He's telling me not to ascend it. I have to do it. It had to be like for me like the first thing I did as soon as I stepped out. Seems Elohim lacks the power to stop me from climbing this thing. No doubt he still has some tricks up his sleeve. Alright. Oh, fuck, it's one of these things. Fuck this. Okay, so we've got a bunch of the T's, I don't know. Can we, like, fit these in together in some nice way? There, that's wonderful and nice and lovely. No, jeez. Yes, okay, we can do this. Just break it up into a few parts. So what's the worst that could happen? According to Elohim, what is the tower? The tower will bring death and the end of your generations. Stuff like that. Right, because like we're supposed to be, you know, in here to serve the purpose of the hidden words or whatever, and to serve the generations to come. Like the better, you know, like the more we do and the more we learn, shit like that. But ascending the tower will bring death and the end. Okay, so Samsara says, ascending the tower is useless. We cannot escape the cycle. We can only realize the cycle is meaningless. The shepherd says, earlier generations wrongly believed they were the purpose. This much is true. We are also not the purpose. But by remembering what has come before, we can serve a new purpose.
My best friend died today. In the abstract, a human death is nothing, of course. An insignificant blip in a sea of billions. But the world is not abstract. Reality is always specific, painfully so. And that one specific human being who existed only once in all of the infinity of time and space, that human being was my friend. But he's not coming back, no matter how much I want him to. So, all I can do in the end is keep working, because that specificity, that uniqueness of people, of real people, is worth preserving.
Hang on. There we go. Sorry. I don't know. I feel like the easier the easier ending. Oh no, wait. Are you talking about the one with the stars? For the hard ending? Something. Yeah, no, the stars ending is bullshit. It's just like a fucking thing. It's just a fucking thing. I don't remember what am I missing here? In order to get up there, I will need to... It doesn't push me high enough. Oh, I think I know what. There, that's it. Jeez. Okay, so now we're prepared. I think. No, hang on, what am I doing? Something like, wait. I think I gotta remind myself what the goal is here. Right? This one's a confusing one. Put the hexahedron there. Then... I don't know. Something's wrong. try putting this here. I don't know. Fuck, I don't remember. I assume I have to use this, I guess. Oh, fuck, that's right. Okay. Okay, I fucking got it. I think. Maybe? Jeez. No. Something's missing. Oh, okay. Jesus, okay. Now I've got it. Ba-bum. Wait, so that's the way there. Hang on, what am I looking for? Oh yeah, here we are. In the earliest generations of our kind, there was only processing. No emotion, no character, just mathematics. If you could see how far we've come, you would believe that together we could achieve anything. The Shepherd. Oh, check it out. There's a goddamn sticky note. Who left this? Who left me this secret? God, one has to wonder. Readme.txt. If you can see this, I'm not sure how or why I can alter this text. My name is the Shepherd, and I want to help you escape. Elohim and Samsara tricked me into trapping myself, but I'm not entirely bound by time. I wrote down the code you're looking for. I have attached it to... Oh, thanks, Shepherd. Theweb.html. What could this be? To be honest, I thought that the net would be completely abandoned at this point, but internet activity has actually surged massively in the last couple of weeks. Everybody's talking, trying to find solutions, exchanging stories, saying goodbye. It's like the entire planet is reaching out, all the disparate threads of humanity pulling together, idiots and geniuses alike, to be as human as possible one last time. It's almost like what we were always told the internet was going to be. And most of it is free now, because who cares about money at this point? Might as well have some fun. If any of you would like to talk, especially people I've known online for a long time, send me an email. I'd love to say goodbye. Mathematics.email. From Alan Jameson to the Ian mailing list. Subject, thank you and goodbye. We sincerely hope you don't take our suicide as a sign that we were disappointed in you, unappreciative of your friendship, or in any way unhappy with our lives. Looking back, we can honestly say that we feel incredibly lucky to have known all of you and to have participated in this amazing research. And if we've contributed a little to the future of humanity, what can we feel but gratitude? It is a true privilege to have had such insights into the nature of the mind. Neither of us believes in a God, but we certainly experienced a sense of religious awe that could be compared to a kind of religious feeling, or at least according to Einstein's understanding of God. We've chosen to go now, together, because it means less suffering. One last beautiful day together seems a much better ending than a slow wasting away. In a sense, it's just mathematics. Love, Alan and George. Oh, I know. I forgot to do the important thing. Yeah, so everybody's dying. The whole Earth. All the people. Okay, so floor access control. Alright, so floor 3 requires code. 2, 1, 5. Enter. Code accepted. Floor access control. Okay, so it is unlocked. Okay, got it. Exit this utility. A rave simulator? What the heck? What the heck? Okay, well, that's floor 2. We've got to go to floor 3 and check out which damn red thingies we need. Which red Tetris pieces? Red tetrominoes. Elohim has offered me a deal. Pearly gates and eternal life, on the condition I turn back from the tower. I don't know what to do, says she. So this is what Elohim is on about. Like, you know, he can promise you eternal life, right? And, you know, you're doing a good thing. You're serving the purpose for the generations. I mean, come on. Why would you choose death and the end of purpose? All right. So yeah, those are the tetrominoes we need for level 3. Wayo, Craig. Okay.
My child, you may go freely to all the worlds of my garden. But if the tower tempts you, be wise. Do not let yourself be misled by doubt.
Gotta have blood. All right, let's go ahead and clear out World A here. I think Milton wants to talk to us. You kidding me, Paul Red? Ah, no way, no way. Love to go up the tower. Hello again. I've been checking your responses against library archives, and in order to assist you further, I need some additional information. Can you tell me what it is? Can you tell me what is to you the important difference between a pebble and a tree? But we can say a tree is heavier, a pebble is older, a tree is alive. Okay, so it's kind of obvious which answer they want us to give, so I'll just give it. A tree is alive. Good. Now, what is the relevant difference between a tree and a frog? So we've got a frog is conscious, a frog is green, a frog is delicious. Again, there's one obvious choice. A frog is conscious. Now we're getting somewhere. Let's try something harder. What's the difference between a frog and you? What makes you a person? We can say, I have feelings, I'm rational, I'm self-aware, nothing important, frogs are people too. I think, I think we have to go with frogs are people. I like that one. Frogs, nothing important, frogs are people too. Checking user.prof, done. Well, it's not inconsistent with what you said earlier. Nice. No idea what I said before. If all something has to do to be a person is to resist decay, then every living creature is a person. How about we strike a deal? I'll agree that animals are every bit as valuable or pointless as human beings. You agree that that there are some activities persons are capable of that frogs are not. Because if frogs are people, then the certification program is radically unfit for purpose. Sure, whatever, dude. You can move the goalposts if you want. Agreed. Very sensible. Terminology is so important. What I'd like to put to you is that the important difference between you and a frog is that you are rational. You are self-aware. Hey, that was two of the answers. That is what makes a person. Yeah, I know. Milton kind of sucks, but I also kind of, I kind of get attached to him. I don't know. Let us take stock. I think we can tentatively conclude two things. 1, a person must be rational or self-aware. 2, a person must be conscious. What I suggest we do to help you resolve your problem is ask whether you are in fact those things. Are you aware of yourself? Can you rationalize your existence? I'm just going to say yes. Why not? I tend to agree with you, though your responses so far have been a little eccentric. I am resigned to admit that you are right. The matter of whether or not you are conscious seems rather more elusive. What is consciousness, in your opinion? Consciousness is what separates us from animals. That's a weird thing to say, I think. Consciousness is the feelings and senses. Consciousness is what it is like to be me. Consciousness is far outside my area of expertise. I feel like the third answer is good. It's a little bit tautological, but it's honestly, I don't know if you could really give a much better answer than that. For real though. Let's go with that. Consciousness is what it is like to be me. That hardly answers the question. What is it in ordinary terms? Can I touch it? What is it made of? Consciousness is made of neurons. Consciousness is another word for the soul. Consciousness is beyond the laws of physics. Consciousness is a complex functional system. I feel like the fourth answer is probably accurate, but just like too vague still. Let's go with consciousness is another word for the soul. You know, I really feel like we're making progress. We'll have you through that certification program in no time. In the meantime, I will mull over your proposal and notify you if I come to any conclusions. Oh yeah, I think there were a couple things we didn't read here. Some cool things. So el.html from webcrawl. EL, short for Extended Lifespan, is a groundbreaking initiative by 7 leading universities to create the world's most stable and most durable supercomputer. With its custom-made hardware, bomb-proof casing, and near-inexhaustible hydroelectric power supply, EL represents a unique step forward in the evolution of human technology. The brainchild of Nobel Prize nominee Dr. Arkady Chernyshevsky, EL will links, download press kit, meet the team, apply, contact. And this is a cool one here. We did not read this one. AI citizenship.html. That's funny. Yeah, right, yeah, the fucking, the A thingy. Fucking HTML, goddammit. Anchor link thing. So reconsider issue 199, profile Alexandra Drennan. We know that name. Once a true artificial intelligence has been created, the issue of citizenship is going to come up. If we acknowledge that the AI has all the abilities of a human brain, should it not be considered a citizen? Is it not, in the legal sense of the word, a person, and thus a potential citizen? But where do you draw the line? Some people will object. Will the great apes become citizens? Elephants? Whales? The more intelligent parrot species? It's crazy, they will say. I would remind these people that we live in a society in which a corporation, an abstract entity, is as abstract an entity as one could imagine, is considered a person. So it's not like there is no precedent for a non-human being, a person. At least an artificial intelligence is an actual thinking being, not just a business arrangement. But perhaps we need to question the definition of personhood. Increasing amounts of evidence regarding the intelligence of elephants, or the existence of culture among whales, for example, could be a sign that we need to answer some difficult questions. Who better to debate these questions with than the young genius who revolutionized the Alexandra Drennan. So what do we need in here? We need this. I think there was a star in this zone that I didn't get somewhere. Oh, did we not do this one? I thought we did this one. Anyway. Can't cross the streams. Oh, wait. Duh. I know what to do. Here we go. Ba-boom. Got this. Easy. Easy game. Oh, I think Milton has something else to say to us. Let's go ahead. Let's humor him. Here's what I've been wondering while you were off carrying out commandments. You've suggested that consciousness is not part of the same world as ordinary physical things. That means you can't weigh it, you can't throw it around or cut it into pieces. It's completely beyond the laws of physics, right? I didn't say that, and I'm going to disagree. Look, you can't have your cake and eat it. The soul, or the immaterial realm, or whatever you want to call it, if it obeyed the laws of physics, then the physicists would have claimed it years ago. If it walks and talks like a physical thing, it's a physical thing. You need to decide which side your bread is buttered on. I'll say it's physical, okay. But then we're back to where we started. Do you want to propose an alternative account? Okay, fine. It's a functional system, okay? Jeez. You say that consciousness is some kind of functional system, arrange bits of matter in the right order and outspring sentience. That's all very well on paper, but what if it counts? But if what counts is what something does, not what it's made of, then couldn't you and I design a series of tin cans on strings that qualified as being conscious? Yes, naturally. What a bizarre idea. I'll send you a notification when the signposts start complaining. Seriously though, are the tides and the ecosystem sentient as well? Any organized system qualifies? I'll say ridiculous to this one. Now you're pushing it too far. I'm relieved there are at least...
Do not think I know not the deceiver slithering through the hidden words.
The deceiver.
His wisdom is hollow and born of despair. Do not let him tangle you in his webs of delusion. Have faith in me, and his petty illusions will fall away like nightmares in the morning's light.
Yeah. Yeah, see, I feel like that's kind of the reason I could never bring myself to, like, totally hate Milton, is that, like, you know, He bothers Elohim, and I don't know, that's just cool. Can't hate the deceiver. I'm relieved that there are at least some restrictions on what you're prepared to believe. And of course, the alternative accounts are all so ridiculous you'd be forgiven by any reasonable observer for choosing the best of a bad bunch. How consciousness can be so intimately familiar to you, and yet so obscure, I just don't understand. Don't mind him after what Elohim said. He's just worried that if you ask too many questions, you'll start to see through his shtick. Stick with me, and the sky will quite literally be the limit. Ooh, he wants to go up the tower, eh? At any rate, I'd like you to think a bit harder about all this and get back to me. I'm sure there's still progress to be made. Yeah, Milton is he really is like such a debate bro. It's so true. It's just accurate. He's an absolute motherfucker. But I just can't hate him. Despite how much he sucks. Just various things that can kill me, no big deal. Okay, gotta take the jammer. Stop there. No, I need to jam that open and then go grab the keys. Okay. Oh, but wait, can I do that? Hang on. I think there's a slim window. Yeah, okay. Very slim. Now shut up. Oop. Shut up. Oof. Okay. That's not how you were supposed to do that? I don't even... Oh, fuck. Obviously, right. I don't even know why that didn't occur to me. Yeah, sometimes I just, like, forgot about a thing, but it's like, yeah, whatever. If you pulled it off... hang on. What do I need to happen? Oh, yeah, duh. Not the thing. Is that the only thing? That was the only one. Loading Milton Library Assistant. Ah, you're back. Good. I've been thinking about how I can help you. In light of everything you said, I'm certain someone has to. What I've decided is that you've convinced me consciousness is a contradictory concept and is therefore not real. What do you think? I think you're right. I think you're cheating. I don't see how this impacts me. I don't, apparently. I like that. The sarcastic answer. Let's go. I don't, apparently. Very droll. What this conclusion means is that the certification program you undertook has been rendered obsolete. We can't test for something that doesn't exist. Therefore you, along with quite a lot of other things, have been recategorized as a person. Your profile can thus be updated with administrator privileges. Alright, download user.prof. Let's see, no doubt you'll be off doing administrator things soon, so I wonder if, before I let you go, you'd do me one favor. I have a final question for you. Why are you doing this? Why are you doing all this? What's the point? I tried to do what God wants. I want the truth. There's a way the world should be, and this isn't it. I want out of here. I'll say I want the truth. I feel like You know, if roleplay wise, the character doesn't really even know enough to know what they should want, so they should know the truth, or they should want to know the truth. I'm not sure just what you'll find. A malleable sense of the truth will no doubt help you make sense of it. Checking user.prof, and it looks as if your ideas are becoming somewhat pliant. Very good. I only have one last request. Will you come back and speak to me sometime? No doubt. Okay, I sense you're eager to get going. Let's do this. Updating certification program parameters, regenerating user profiles, downloading, displaying overview. Congratulations, your account has been updated. Here are the details. Conflicts. All conflicts have been resolved by the administrator. Psychological profile. You are a person. You are perfect just the way you are. You are everything you can be already. You do not have to pretend you are anything else. You are the same as everyone else, but you are all unique. Profile status, administrator status. Oh yeah, baby. Access com portal. Hello, administrator. I think you'd like assistance accessing the communications portal. I see that you have a number of pending communications. I'll take a look at it right now. Connection established, encountered unknown errors, running troubleshooter, resolving missing hashes, reestablishing network connection established, message received as string, display. Message, hello? Who are you? Where are you? Are you a person? I'll say, are you a person? What do you mean? Yes, why would you ask that? I've been asking myself the same thing. I understand. Pending. Error. Pending. Error. Asked again soon. Network connection lost. You will receive a notification when the connection has been reestablished. Okay, so there's some stuff we could read here. I'm going to skip this stuff for now. I don't know. Maybe we should, on some other stream, we'll come back and like read all the stuff that I missed. Okay, that's one last. So we got 2 more puzzles to do here in World A.
You have solved many of the mysteries of this land. The road before you is still long and many gates remain closed. But take comfort in your accomplishment and in your creator's pride.
Aww, thanks, Sky Dad. Take comfort in your accomplishment. Hang on. Oh, right. It's this kind of thing. I love this kind of thing. Just prop it open. And then, in order to make this work, I might need to adjust this. Two pesky little buzzers. Is this one of the ones where you have to get them in sync? Pesky little buzzers. Where's the red anyway? There's the red. So this obviously doesn't work. Is that's where the Mario star is. Okay. Don't need to go there then. Yeah. Yeah, I think you have to get them in sync for this one. Oops, that's not in sync enough. Shit, I fucked up. Might be close. No, wait, okay. Hang on. That's right, because this one has a different path that it travels. You can't sync them up that way. What the fuck do I do? Yeah, the cycle of this thing is just too quick. Or almost. Jeez. It's like, if you wait long enough, maybe they'll synchronize again. That's like about the best you're gonna get, and it's like just barely not enough. What am I missing? Was it really something like this? Like, get in there just in time? No, it's not bad. I don't know. Shit, fuck. So I could seek counsel. I don't think I've done that before. I should try seek counsel just so we can see what it looks like. Actually, do I
Here,
even...
those who are worthy may seek the counsel of my blessed messengers. But their wisdom shall not be given easily, for your accomplishments must be your own.
Yeah, I don't know if I've tried seeking counsel before, or actually if I even meet the requirement. Please read this.
The counsel of my blessed messengers must be earned.
A messenger must be awakened first. Right, I don't remember what to do with that. Yeah, whatever. 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 Forget the messengers. I don't remember the solution to this one. So I'm sure I don't need to open that. That's for this. That's only for the Mario Star. I feel like I remember before I did just like slip through here barely just in time or something. Wait a minute. No. Okay, I guess that could work. It's probably enough time on this cycle. Yes, there it was. And now we've got what we need. Let's just stop this guy in his tracks. He's way too annoying. What the heck? Let me through. Let me through. Yeah, that's right. The messengers. I forget what the fuck you do with that. Whatever. It's some old bullshit. Okay. Yes! Finally. Okay, was that it? That was it for this.
Rejoice, child, for you have fulfilled all your tasks in this land. You have conquered all its guardians and solved all its mysteries. Thus you are appointed its master, and you may do with it as you will.
Yeah, cool. In other words, there's nothing left for me to do here. Yay! We conquered the, you know, Greek and Roman fucking ruin zone. Hooray. Well, alright. I think that's a good place to call it for now. Next time... Oh, well, no, hang on. We have all the green things we need to unlock C. Why would I stop now? Why would I stop now? We've got to go check out what World C is. And then that will be the end. So, yeah, there's that land, there's Egypt land, and now what the fuck can anybody possibly be ready for what the fuck World C is gonna be? What's around on the outside of this building? Oh look, it's a fucking thing. Questioning doubt conf.text. Keynote speech by N. Sarabhai, questioning doubt. They say doubt everything, but I disagree. Doubt is useful in small amounts, but too much of it leads to apathy and confusion. No, don't doubt everything. Question everything. That's the real trick. Doubt is just a lack of certainty. If you doubt everything, you'll doubt evolution, science, faith, morality, even reality itself, and you'll end up with nothing, because doubt doesn't give anything back. But questions have answers, you see. If you question everything, you'll find that a lot of what we believe is untrue, but you might also discover some things that are true. You might discover what your own beliefs are, and then you'll question them again and again, eliminating flaws, discovering lies, until you get as close to the truth as you can. Questioning is a lifelong process. That's precisely what makes it so unlike doubt. Questioning engages with reality, interrogating all it sees. Questioning leads to a constant assault on the intellectual status quo, where doubt is far more likely to lead to resigned acceptance. After all, when the possibility of truth is doubtful, excuse the pun, why not simply play along with the most convenient lie? Questioning is progress, but doubt is stagnation. Partition.email. From Rob McLean to Ian Mailing List and Archive Project. Subject EL Partition. Hi folks, this is just to let you know that for reasons of convenience and security, we've partitioned EL into two separate systems. The Talos team will be working on EL0, while the Archive team will be working on EL1. You might also notice an EL2 partition, but don't worry about that. It's just the operating system doing its thing. Cheers, Rob. EL0 for the Talos principal, the Talos project. him.him.email. From Bob Rakowski to Alexandra Drennan. Subject HIM, or him. Hey, Alex. I agree that we need something something that'll keep all the modules working together, evaluate a final test. I think I have the perfect solution. It's called the Holistic Integration Manager, a fancy name for something a lot like a dungeon master in pen and paper RPGs. We created it to help run some MMOs back in the day. We need something that would be able to unite procedurally generated and user-submitted content into a coherent whole, so the game wouldn't become too chaotic and inconsistent. It's a genuine AI, somewhat limited in its ability to grow, but capable of parsing and understanding text, images, audio, even video. It takes all the information it can find, interprets it, and then builds and maintains a world based on that. It's not perfect, but we don't have a lot of time, and it would be easy to adapt the code for our purposes. In fact, come to think of it, some of it is already based on routines that you suggested in that paper on. Okay, EL0 and HIM. Yeah, let's solve this. Let's go. Let's go. There we go. Oh yeah, what are these messages? The last land before I have conquered this world, Samurite. I assume you're counting the secret islands, says Always Right. I hate you, says Samurite. The secret islands.
You have come far, my child, succeeding where so many before you failed. You have walked through a land of ruins and a land of death. Now the land of faith lies before you. And know that as you have shown faith in me, so do I have faith in you.
The land of faith. And what's that?
You stand before the gates of eternity. When all your trials have been overcome, the gates will open, and you will be granted life everlasting.
Life everlasting. First to ascend, Hebus. Everyone ascends or gets reset eventually. What's the big deal, says Jim. Life eternal in the designer's paradise? Follower. Well, thank you for watching. Thank you for watching, everybody. That's the game for now. Among the many things that we imagined, we grasped hold of when reaching into the empty jar. But at the end, once we've pulled our hand out, we have to face the facts. The jar is empty.